In 1901, Indian Motorcycle, under the direction of founder George Hendy, built America's first gasoline-powered motorcycle. It was pedal-assisted, of course, but nonetheless, it cemented the Indian brand in foundations of America's motorcycle history. In 1903, Oscar Hedstrom would ride one of these motorcycles to a new speed record, 56 miles an hour, and won an endurance race from New York to Springfield. But 1903 is a year you all probably know for a different reason. It was the year that William S. Harley and Arthur Davidson would launch their first motorcycle to the public. Built out of their infamous wooden shed in Milwaukee with the words Harley Davidson Motor Co. scrawled across the door. Indian would be the first to deliver a V-twin powered bike to its customers in 1907, and Harley would follow soon after in 1909 with a slightly larger displacement 45-degree V-twin and a spare parts catalogue. That's right, it's been over 100 years Harley owners have been customizing their bikes. Well, that's pretty cool, if not just expensive. These two brands would go on to compete for customers, for races and for championships, and military contracts. In fact, it's safe to say the American motorcycle market wouldn't be what it is today without this rivalry. And although Harley has had its rough patches, including the years of AMF ownership, yes, that's right, the bowling company, that AMF, Indian too has had many hurdles and dark periods. Polaris would finally take reins of Indian in 2011. That really brings us to today. The rivalry of these two mammoth motorcycle brands is back more than ever. So in 2020, which company is leading the way and which motorcycle is right for you? Well, no doubt I'm going to hurt some feelings in this one, but hell, let's dive on in. So let me start by saying both companies produce amazing bikes, and to be honest, as long as you're out riding, I couldn't care less what you ride. But for those of you who are still deciding which direction to go with their purchase, maybe my opinion and experience with riding these bikes will help articulate the way you're feeling about these brands, and maybe help you find the bike that's mostly right for you. To kick things off, let's talk about the smaller line of bikes, the Harley Sportsters and the Indian Scouts. These bikes really offer very different experiences. When you jump on the Indian Scouts, it's impossible not to notice the smoothness, refinement, and polish of the 1200cc liquid-cooled motor. The FTR in particular delivers great performance and a really fun ride for those who aren't too big and too tall to enjoy the bike, that is. The Sportsters, on the other hand, retain the rawness of American V-twin motorcycles. The Evo engine, praised by many, rumbles and shakes and delivers a truly engaging ride. And let's not forget about the incredibly extensive customization options that come with owning a bike that is part of the longest running model of motorcycles ever. This trend seeps through into the larger touring lineup too. The features feel more up to date on the Indian touring bikes. And with the Challenger, you get a whole new engine delivering impressive performance. In fact, Indian, along with their sponsored rider Carey Hart, a childhood hero of mine, are now running a series of tests proving the class-leading power of this new Challenger motorcycle. And although the Challenger is yet to touch down in Australia, I trust this engine is amazing. Big displacement, big torque, and liquid cooling allows the engine to rev up higher and produce those big horsepower numbers. Couple that with superior suspension, features and electronics, it's easy to see why many people are rallying around the Indian brand. I have to be honest, I can't wait to jump on this bike and see what it's capable of. But let's face it, people are still buying Harley touring bikes. Yes, much of this could be nostalgia and brand loyalty, but I do think there is something important being missed here. The finer details. To judge a bike solely on power and spec sheets would be absurd. Hell, we would all be stupid for not selling our big twins right now and picking up sport bikes. The best cars in the world aren't always the fastest. It all depends on the purpose of the vehicle, the type of ride that you want, the type of places you want to go, and the experience you want to have. Clearly, when it comes to choosing the vehicle that's right for you, whether it has 4 wheels or 2, performance isn't everything, which is why it's strange to me that this rivalry revolves around performance. Maybe because numbers on a table are very easy to communicate to an audience. But the story of what makes a great motorcycle doesn't lie in a spec sheet. Rather, it lives out on the road. The reason I would still buy a Harley touring bike myself over an Indian are for these details that can't be communicated on the spec sheet. The premium feel of the hand controls, mirrors, and shift and brake levers. The design of the dashboard that tries to weave form and function. The solid feel of the bike on the road, the quality of the paint that leads the industry, and really the overall elegance of the bike's design. These differences are real. They are tactile. These are parts of the bike you engage with every time you ride, and this premium feel over a more plasticky interpretation is what delivers an overall complete motorcycle package. Essentially, if I'm going to turn on my indicators 50 times a day, I want that switch to feel good. The best way I can describe it is with an analogy. Samsung phone versus an iPhone, or a Lenovo laptop versus a MacBook. The Samsung and Lenovo are in every measurable way a better choice due to their performance and features that they hold. But the Apple products, despite being notoriously behind the curve, deliver a truly premium experience through their design and feel. And for many people, millennials included, this is often a more important factor than raw performance numbers alone. Look, if you buy a bike purely for performance, then I would go with the Indian, of course. Though I would probably consider a BMW or Honda at the same time too. If you care about the little things that make a bike feel premium and you want to spend extra money in customizing a bike to make it your own, and trust me, I understand that that's not for everyone. But if you do, then Harley's the way to go. And to be honest, after a stage 2 cam and a good tune, you'll be putting out some damn big numbers anyway. Now I haven't mentioned the Softails yet, only because Indian simply doesn't have a mid-sized bike to compete in this category. In fact, the Softail lineup is perhaps the reason I bought a Harley Davidson in the first place. You see, originally I thought I wanted an Indian. I love the brand, and still do, and I wanted something other than a Harley. I went straight from getting my license to the Indian dealer. The Scout was too small for me, and the Springfield was too big for what I wanted at the time. That turned me over to the Harley Davidson dealership. And that's where I test rode and fell in love with the entire Softail lineup. Mid-sized bikes able to conquer many kinds of riding. I think Indian needs to really develop a set of bikes in this category, and ideally, with that new 108 engine. This isn't to say Harley is perfect, far from it. It is clear that they have work to do in lifting the performance of their bikes in stock form, both in terms of power, but most importantly, suspension. Like every big rivalry, Harley and Indian need each other to innovate and develop bikes that push the industry forward. I think the next 5 years are going to be a lot of fun, so you better start stashing some extra cash in your piggy bank. Let me know what you think to the rivalry in the comments below. If you own a particular bike, I'm curious why you chose that brand and bike over another, and if you would ever own a different brand in the future. As for me, I love my Harley Davidson Sport Glide, and it's not going anywhere. But I welcome another bike from another brand to join it in my stable at some point in the future. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what kind of bikes you want to see me riding. What kind of brands do you want to see me test? I'm excited to dive into more of the motorcycle world throughout this year of 2020, whilst of course continuing to build out the Sport Glide and take you on awesome adventures that I have on 2 wheels. If you have any questions, please, as always, reach out. And don't forget to ride safe, drink damn fine coffee, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.